Please, sir. Just one flower, it's not much. You can give it to someone you love, just please don't laugh at me." The words left her trembling lips, her small voice carrying a weight far too heavy for a little girl of only 7 years old. Her braids were messy, her dress worn thin from being washed too many times in cold water, and her bare feet pressed against the rough pavement outside the cafe. In her tiny hands, she clutched a bundle of wilting flowers wrapped in old newspaper, her eyes wide and pleading as she looked up at the man towering over her. The man, well dressed in a crisp white shirt, glanced down at her with a mix of irritation and mockery. "Flowers? From you?" He laughed sharply, shaking his head. "These aren't even fresh. Who would buy this junk?" His friends at the table chuckled, raising their coffee cups like they were in on a private joke at her expense. Her little brother, barely 4, peeked from behind her leg, clutching her skirt tightly, his eyes big and frightened. The laughter stung him even though he didn't fully understand what was happening. She bent down, pressing her forehead gently against his. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice shaking but still soft. "We'll be okay." "Come on, Amara," one of the women at the cafe table sneered, having heard her name from someone before. "Go run along. Nobody wants your pity. Shouldn't you be in school anyway, not begging people on the streets?" Amara's little fists clenched around the flowers, but she didn't argue. She never argued. Instead, she lifted her chin slightly and said with a steadiness that silenced even her critics for a moment, "I'm not begging. I'm working. These flowers, they are for my mother." The group exchanged glances, rolling their eyes, some scoffing under their breath. One of the men waved his hand dismissively. Yeah, everyone's got a sad story. Don't guilt trip us, kid. Just move along." But Amara stood her ground, not with anger, not with defiance, but with something more powerful, dignity. She held out a flower, a faded yellow daisy that had survived despite being plucked from a patch of dirt by the roadside. Even if it's not perfect, it can still make someone smile. Sometimes, that's all people need. There was silence. For a moment, just a flicker, the man looked away. Then laughter broke the tension again, the kind that echoes in the air long after it fades, the kind that burns. Amara swallowed hard, took her brother's hand, and slowly began to walk away. Her small shoulders stiff with pride, her face wet with tears she refused to show. But she was hiding something. Something that not a single one of those laughing faces could have guessed. Later that evening, as the sun bled into shades of orange and purple, Amara and her brother sat on the curb near the old market. She counted the few coins they had made, whispering numbers under her breath. 1, 2, 3, enough for some bread. Her brother leaned against her, half asleep. She brushed his hair back with her hand and forced a smile. "Tomorrow will be better, I promise." An elderly woman dressed in simple clothes stopped near them. She bent down, her wrinkled face kind but tired. "Child, why are you here so late?" Amara lifted her head. "I need to sell the flowers. For my mama. She's sick. She needs the medicine. If I don't sell them, she won't—" She stopped, her throat tightening. "She won't get better." The old woman touched her shoulder gently, her eyes softening. "You're a strong one, little girl." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small loaf of bread, breaking it in half. She handed it to Amara and her brother. "Here, eat. Don't let your stomach stay empty tonight." Tears welled in Amara's eyes, but she whispered, "Thank you." She clutched the bread like it was the most precious gift in the world. As the old woman walked away, Amara's gaze followed her, then dropped to the bundle of flowers still in her lap. She held one up, brushing its fragile petals against her cheek. "They don't know, Mama," she whispered to herself. "They don't know why I do this. They don't know what I'm hiding, but one day, they'll see." Her secret wasn't just about her mother's sickness. It was about something else. something she had carried in silence, hidden from the mocking eyes and careless laughter. That night, under the flickering street lamp outside their small apartment, Amara tucked her brother into the old mattress they shared. She sat on the floor, her knees pulled to her chest, staring at the flowers that hadn't sold. Slowly, she began to draw on the torn piece of paper beside her. She wasn't just selling flowers. She was sketching them, shaping them into something new, something beautiful. Each petal on the page was alive, detailed with care, drawn with the hand of a child who had talent far beyond her years. When her mother coughed weakly from the other side of the room, Amara hurried over, setting the drawing aside. "Mama, I got bread today. You can eat some in the morning." Her mother's frail hand reached up, brushing Amara's cheek. "My brave little girl, you'll make it. You'll make it further than they can ever imagine." Amara smiled through her tears, but inside, she made herself a silent vow. She wouldn't let the mocking voices define her. She wouldn't let the world break her. She was carrying a secret the world wasn't ready for yet, a secret that would change everything. And as the night deepened, the flowers sat by her side, no longer just something to sell, but a symbol of her fight, her hidden gift, and the extraordinary strength of a little girl who refused to give up. The next morning, Amara rose before the sun. Her brother was still fast asleep, curled into the old blanket. She slipped quietly out of their tiny room, clutching her bundle of flowers wrapped in yesterday's newspaper. The streets were quiet, but soon the city would come alive with people rushing to work, children with bright backpacks heading to school, children who looked at her with confusion, sometimes pity, sometimes cruel amusement. As she walked past the bakery, the warm scent of bread filled her nose. Her stomach growled, but she pressed on. She had only enough coins for her mother's medicine, and that mattered more than her hunger. When she reached the park, the morning joggers were already out. She stood near the fountain, her small voice calling softly to anyone passing by. "Flowers. Flowers for sale. They're not much, but they can make someone smile." A young woman in a sleek suit stopped, her earbuds dangling. She looked Amara up and down, then shook her head with a half-smirk. "Sweetheart, you should be in school, not out here pretending you're a businesswoman." Amara's little shoulders stiffened. "I'm not pretending. This is my work. Please, just one flower." The woman rolled her eyes. "Honestly, I don't need a pity flower. Look at them. They're almost dead." She turned and walked away. A pair of men sitting on a nearby bench laughed, one whispering loud enough for Amara to hear. "Poor kid, trying to sell weeds like they're roses." Amara's hands trembled, but she forced herself not to cry. She held the flowers tighter and whispered under her breath, "I'm not weeds. I'm not nothing." A little boy, maybe 6 years old, walked up with his mother. He tugged her hand, pointing at Amara. "Mama, can I have one, please?" The mother hesitated, her eyes scanning Amara's messy clothes. Then she softened and handed Amara a coin. "One flower, please." Amara's face lit up as she carefully chose the brightest daisy and handed it to the boy. "Thank you. It's for you. Flowers always make the day better." The boy smiled, clutching the flower tightly. "Thank you." As they walked away, Amara's heart swelled. For a moment, all the laughter and mockery faded. For a moment, she remembered why she kept doing this. But her secret, the one she carried every day, still weighed on her. By afternoon, she had sold only half her flowers. She counted the coins, her heart sinking. "Not enough," she whispered. She knew her mother's medicine would cost more. She sat on the curb, staring at the flowers still left in her hand, wondering if maybe today was the day she'd have to choose between food and medicine. That's when a shadow fell across her. She looked up. A tall man stood there, dressed in a gray suit, his tie loose, his expression unreadable. He wasn't laughing like the others. He simply studied her, his brow furrowed. "Little girl," he said, his voice deep but not unkind. Why do you sell flowers here every day? Amara hesitated, clutching the flowers closer. Because I have to. My mama's sick. She needs medicine. And my brother. He's too little to help, so it's just me. The man crouched down to her level, looking into her wide eyes. And these flowers, where do you get them? Her lips trembled. I find them. Sometimes in the empty lots, sometimes by the roadside. I try to keep them alive, even if they're broken. The man's gaze shifted to her sketchbook, which peeked from under her arm. And what's that? Amara hugged it close. Nothing, just drawings. May I see? He asked gently. She hesitated, then slowly handed it over. The man flipped it open and stopped. The pages were filled with flowers, delicate, detailed sketches that captured every petal, every vein, every fragile line of life. They weren't childish doodles. They were art. His eyes widened. You drew these? Amara nodded shyly. Yes, I draw them because flowers don't always last, but if I draw them, they can stay forever. For a long moment, the man was silent, his throat tightening. He could see something extraordinary in her, something no one else seemed to notice. You have a gift, he said softly. A real gift. Amara lowered her gaze, whispering, No one believes me. They just laugh. The man closed the sketchbook and handed it back to her. Don't ever let their laughter make you forget who you are. Promise me. Her eyes glistened with tears, but she nodded. I promise. He reached into his wallet and pulled out a bill far larger than any coin she had ever held. He pressed it into her small hand. For all the flowers you have left, and keep drawing, little one. One day, the world will see what you see. Amara stared at the money, her hands trembling. But it's too much. I can't. It's not too much, he interrupted, his voice firm but kind. It's exactly what you deserve. She swallowed hard, her lips trembling as she whispered, Thank you. As he walked away, Amara clutched the money to her chest. For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to dream. Maybe she could buy the medicine and some food. Maybe her brother wouldn't go to bed hungry tonight. Maybe her mama would smile again. But she also knew this was only the beginning. Her secret gift, the drawings, the way she saw beauty in broken flowers, was more than just survival. It was a light waiting to break through the darkness. That night, as she laid beside her brother, she whispered softly, One day, we won't just survive. One day, they'll know who we are. Her brother stirred sleepily, murmuring, Flowers? Yes, Amara said with a soft laugh, brushing his hair back. Flowers. Always flowers. And outside, the city lights flickered like distant stars, unaware that a little girl with messy braids and worn clothes was holding on to a secret that could change everything. Days passed, then weeks. Every morning, Amara stood with her flowers, enduring the stares, the whispers, the cruel laughter. But each night, when the city fell quiet, she opened her sketchbook. Her small fingers guided her pencil across the paper with precision far beyond her years. Broken petals became whole, faded colors bloomed again through her imagination, and wilted stems straightened proudly under her touch. Her mother's cough worsened. Her brother grew thinner. Amara carried a weight far heavier than a child should, but she never stopped. One rainy evening, as she huddled under a thin awning outside the market, her flowers drooping from the storm, she drew. Her paper became damp, but she didn't care. She drew the raindrops sliding off each petal, the way the gray sky bent its light into tiny diamonds on the leaves. She drew because she had to, because it was the only way she knew to hold on to hope. A man holding a large umbrella walked by, stopping when he noticed her. It was the same man in the gray suit who had bought her flowers before. He knelt down, shielding her and her sketchbook from the rain. "You're still here," he said softly. Amara looked up, her braids wet and sticking to her face. "I have to be," she whispered. "Mama needs me." He studied her drawing, his breath catching. This is incredible." He took a deep breath, then said, "I work at the Community Arts Center. We're hosting an exhibition next month. I want you to be part of it." Her eyes widened. "Me? Yes, you," he said firmly. "People need to see this. They need to see the way you see the world." For the first time in so long, Amara felt her heart leap. She wasn't just the girl selling wilted flowers anymore. Someone had finally seen her. In the days that followed, he visited often. He brought her sketchbooks, pencils, even paints. He spoke with her mother, who wept quietly as she realized her daughter's gift was being nurtured. Amara worked tirelessly, sketching and painting late into the night, her small hands smudged with graphite and color, her eyes burning with determination. When the day of the exhibition came, the gallery was filled with people, men in suits, women in dresses, children holding their parents' hands. The walls were lined with Amara's work, flowers drawn with such life, such emotion, that they seemed to breathe. Some were broken blossoms turned radiant, others were delicate buds ready to bloom. Each one told a story, her story. Amara stood in the corner, her brother's small hand in hers, her heart pounding. She felt small, invisible, until she heard the whispers. "Who made these? They're beautiful, so real, so alive. Whoever it is, they see something the rest of us don't." The man in the gray suit stepped forward, his voice steady. "These were made by a little girl, 7 years old. You've seen her before, though maybe you never truly looked. She's the one you've passed on the streets, the one selling flowers you thought were worthless. Her name is Amara." Gasps filled the room, heads turned, and then, for the first time, people looked at her not with mockery, but with awe. Amara felt her cheeks burn as the applause began. Her brother squeezed her hand, whispering, "See, they know now." She blinked back tears, stepping forward shyly. "These flowers, they're not perfect, but they're still beautiful, just like people. Even when we're broken, we can still bloom. That's what I wanted to show." The room fell silent for a moment, her words striking deeper than she could have imagined. Then the applause grew louder, filling the gallery with warmth. Her mother, frail but smiling, stood nearby with tears streaming down her face. She whispered, "My brave little girl, they finally see you." That night, as Amara walked home, her sketchbook tucked under her arm, she felt lighter than she had ever felt before. The laughter, the mocking, the rejection, all of it had led her here. She had turned her pain into something beautiful, something that touched the hearts of strangers. She realized then that her secret had never been the flowers themselves, but the way she saw them, the way she could see beauty where others only saw brokenness. And as she lay beside her brother that night, she whispered, "One day, we won't just survive. One day, we'll live. And today, maybe that day has already begun." Her story reminds us that in our daily lives we often overlook people who carry silent battles. The cleaner in the office, the child selling candies on the corner, the neighbor who never complains but always looks tired. Sometimes behind the things we dismiss as small or unworthy lies a hidden gift that could change everything. So the next time you pass by someone struggling, don't laugh. Don't look away. Stop. Listen. Because you might just witness something extraordinary. Amara's flowers were never just flowers. They were hope. And hope, no matter how fragile, always blooms. Thank you for watching this story. If it touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel, Black Saga. Drop a comment, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that even in brokenness, beauty lives.